Can I can I blink?
You can blink. That's all you can do. You can blink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, friends. Welcome back. It's been a journey this week, this
Mhm.
year, the last couple of years. I
I
don't
was
know.
like, yeah, I'm like, wait, just this week? What the hell are you talking about? We could go back.
What is it? It's like, yeah, I'm in a period of transition. I feel like I've been saying that for like a decade. When does it
When is
stop?
it over? When are we done?
When does it not count as a transition
When do you
anymore?
like growth? Like when are we grown? Like I want to know when we're grown because the growing process, I'm over it. Can we just be grown? I want to be grown.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot
Enough
going on.
growth for God's sakes.
All right. So today's episode is called I Have Friends, So Why Do I Feel So Alone?
Mhm.
So today, what we're going to talk about is the feeling of being around people or being in a relationship or having friends, but kind of paradoxically feeling really, really alone. And I think a lot of people experience this.
We shopped this around a little bit
Yeah.
this
And
week.
everyone's like, oh my gosh, yes.
This
Like,
one.
have you ever sat in a room
Mhm.
full of people and you're just feeling like
Mhm.
so alone?
Yeah, or like you sit at a table at some sort of social gathering and
Yeah.
everybody's talking and everybody's engaging, and there's a party that's just like, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not doing anything. Am I supposed to be here? Should I just go home? Like that whole internal conversation of I'm kind of left out of this social
Yeah, you're
function.
like at a dinner table, but internally it feels like cabin in the woods.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
right.
totally alone.
I'm the only one here.
Yeah, something's going to come out and get me.
Hmm.
Loneliness is not just, being alone, or just being by yourself. Some of our deepest loneliness happens in the presence of other people.
Which is the
Um,
dichotomy of it all, right?
yeah,
Like that's
well,
what gets so confusing.
it feels more painful
Hmm.
because there's no obvious explanation. And as we
Right.
know, and we talk about a lot, our brain really loves consistency and
Hmm.
reason and answers. And so your brain is like, I cannot Control Alt Delete. I
Hmm.
cannot compute. There are people here, but internally, cabin in the woods.
Right.
Like,
But I like these people and they
but I
invited me here
do.
and I said I wanted to come. And now I feel like no one's talking to me or I just don't have anything to say and I feel very alone.
Yeah. So, like in a group chat, you could say something like super vulnerable, and then someone gives you like the thumbs up emoji, and you're like,
Right.
cabin in the
Or
woods.
no response at all.
Oh gosh, that's the
That's
worst.
the worst.
Or if you're a monster and you have your read receipts on
Oh
and
my
I
God.
saw you read it and there's no response. Oh goodness. All right. So loneliness is not about proximity. So it doesn't mean like I have lots of neighbors,
Mhm.
like I should be fine. I go to a big school, I should be fine. I have lots of friends, I should be fine. We don't just need people. We are actually biologically hardwired
Mhm.
for connection and belonging. So we can be around people. That doesn't mean we are connected with or to those people. So, this is a very interesting definition. So, loneliness isn't the absence of people, it's the absence of feeling seen, feeling understood, feeling valued, or feeling emotionally connected.
Something I read too was that they defined loneliness as a need that your senses are telling you has to be met. Like that I have a need that is just not being met. And
Mine,
so the feeling is loneliness. Loneliness is your emotional sense saying, I'm not getting what I need. Like it's not fulfilled. And so you can be in a room full of people or a table full of people and still feel a loneliness because there is an emotional need. That connectivity isn't being met yet.
yeah, it's like your nervous system is like, girl, this ain't it.
Right. We empty.
No, we're feeling some kind of way.
Mhm.
So there are a couple, these are not the only types of loneliness, but I think in terms of like the ones we experience, so social loneliness, not enough people, friendships, like you don't have someone like, let's say you're walking around and you see some like, like a random goose that's like attacking another, you're like, you don't have a person, you're like, this is funny. I should send it to somebody. Like, this is hilarious. Or like, a meme, you're like, dang, I don't have a person. Like
Yeah.
my go-to
Mhm.
person. That's like, isn't this
Mhm.
great? Emotional loneliness. This one is ouch. And so people present, they're just not able to meet you where you're at or connect with
Mhm.
you with where you're at.
That one's Chad. I
It's
know, but I
ouch.
think that's the one people connect to the most. So it would be an example is I had a terrible day, something really bad happened. I don't have anybody that I would tell it to. I don't have anybody that I'm like, that's my person, or these are the people that I'm going to tell this to, and they're going to then respond back. Like they have your back, they have your side, they boost that emotional sense back. When you feel like you don't have a person or people to call about it, that is devastating when in terms of
Yeah.
mental health.
So that would be like social loneliness. The emotional loneliness component of that is like, yeah, they validate you, but the emotional loneliness is if that person never can't meet you in the like,
Mhm.
damn, that must have really hurt. It must have really felt like shit. Like,
Mhm.
that happened in front of the Wawa, like, man, that
Your
must have
safe
felt
space.
embarrassing, like, oh my gosh, that must have you just I would have wanted to, like, crawl. So you
Mhm.
need someone to meet you in the emotional place that you're in, not
Right.
necessarily understand it, but just meet you where you're at. That is emotional
And not
loneliness.
be afraid to jump in. Those are your, like, in the mud with you people. Do you know what I mean?
You're
Like,
one of those.
yes, girl, I will jump in that mud every
You
time, get it
do.
all up in the hair,
You
absolutely.
do. You
But yeah,
really
you need
do.
those, like, mud jumpers, like, who is jumping in
Love
with but
them.
when you don't have them, oh my god,
It's
that mud feels heavy.
lonely.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so lonely. Existential loneliness. No one can fully understand my experience. No one knows exactly what it is like to be me.
Oof, that's heavy.
And then relational loneliness, feelings of disconnection become a threat. The other person can respond to it defensively. If you bring up, I feel disconnected, the other person can perceive it as a
Mhm.
threat. So you could be sitting next to somebody and feel a million miles apart from them.
Mhm.
Emotional bids for connection go unanswered. You kind of see this. You ever see couples like you go out to eat and you see them and they're both just on their phone?
Oh, yes.
And you're
Yeah.
like, "What the hell?" Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you can be on your phone, but I've gone out and you can see people like
Yeah.
the entire dinner is just 2
Yeah.
people, like, alone together,
Right.
you know? I think that's
That's why I think so many people can identify with, like, the loneliness feeling. You can be there with a partner, somebody you've dated
ugh.
or been with for years, and you're like, "I'm on my phone here because I have nothing else to talk about, and I don't think he wants to talk to me or she wants to talk to me." So you just feel the loneliness set in.
Yeah, so everyone's gonna ask, like, "What causes this?"
Mhm.
Like, the why?
Mhm.
But what causes us to feel lonely around people? So it's like not showing up as ourselves. So we all have like roles or identities, like the good girl,
Mhm.
the funny
The
one, the
scripts you
problem
play. Mhm.
solver, the daughter, the mom, the cute one, the this. So we have this like curated kind of personality package. And a lot of times we do that. That can stem from like childhood wounds of like these are roles that were adaptive and allowed us to survive.
Mhm.
So we continue to wear them. So, but if people only know the mask, and I think this happens, like actors will say this a lot, is
Mhm.
like people think they know you. They know
Oh,
they know the performance that
right.
you portrayed. And I think that's why it can be, I've heard this, like
Mhm.
it can be
Yeah.
so lonely because they can have all of these fans that are connected to the performance of them,
Yes.
not them. So it's like you only know the performance, they can only connect with the identity, the role, the
Yes.
masks that I'm wearing. And the mask isn't, like I said, a lot of it is like leftover survival stuff. So it's not I'm
Sure.
purposely trying to keep people away. It's just I don't even know kind of who I am if I don't have it.
Right. I think the mom loneliness is a
Oh,
huge thing. I think the moms out there can understand the mask you wear, the script that you have to run, the schema that we play. We are the mom role. You are the fixer, the helper, the driver, the buyer of the clothes, the washer of the dishes, the making of the, but it's all a very much script. But there are times as a mom that you're like, do they know me though? Like, do they know
no.
me? Like, and I have like, we both now have older kids.
Mhm.
So it's interesting as your kids get older and become adults that they actually do start to know you as a human being. But that mom role, not only is it extremely lonely, you play it for years. It is a role you play for years. And I think there's a great deal of lonely moms out there right now. And we see you, we get you, we understand you. You're seen.
And why do we wear masks? Like I said, a lot of times it can be like old survival skills. It can also be self protection. So if someone met the version of us, it's a version of us that didn't want to be rejected. And so our mask then becomes a barrier to intimacy. So the mask protects us from rejection and but it also protects us from being known. And we talked about this a little bit with dating. It's like if you only knew the final draft version of me and you fall in love with the final draft version of me, like what about the versions that are all came before, the
The
like real
edited, like
ones? Like
we took those out. I still need you to know they exist.
yeah, and you think about that too, like,
Hmm.
and it's not out of malice. Like you can have friends where you show up and it's like either we perceive, oh, the expectation is I'm always the one cracking jokes or I'm
Oh,
always the one
hmm.
doing this, and really, it's like, are there relationships that I allow myself to be completely unmasked, knowing that that is terrifying? Can someone just like sit next to the struggle bird that I am and just pick up my feathers? I'm
Right.
molting,
Hmm.
just not doing great.
It's like, those people that you feel like you can fall apart in front of and with, right? I guess that's the safest you could ever feel is with those people,
Connection.
right?
That is like absolute connection because I
Right.
can be exactly as I am. Nothing you no performance,
Mhm.
no mask
Mhm.
required of me.
Yeah.
And it's a paradox because the lonelier we feel, the harder it can become to reach out because we withdraw, we stop reaching out, assume that no one cares,
Right.
become guarded. And all of this decreases, all of that behavior decreases connection, which is the thing you want. It's
Yeah.
like this terrible cycle of like, oh, I feel like nobody cares, so I won't reach out. The less
Right.
I reach out, the less people have an
Yeah.
opportunity to meet me. On a side note, I would just like to talk about group chats.
Okay, let's talk about group chat. I'm
No
terrible at
one
group
enters
chats.
a group chat seeking emotional intimacy, not a one person.
Oh,
And
okay.
you're like, "Ooh, I'm part of this group chat." There's like 15 people in this group chat. What? It's like logistics and memes and chaos. So if you're feeling extra lonely and you are part of multiple group chats, just beep, 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 exit right out of there. Okay?
I'm terrible at them. They will not fill your loneliness.
Yes.
Tell me if I'm jumping ahead on anything that you're going to talk about in this, but one of the things was the quality over quantity thing. So with loneliness, one of the things that, has come up in most of the research is they will talk to people who are feeling lonely and talk to people who feel that their social life is giving them exactly what they need. So they don't report high feelings of loneliness. And sidebar to that, those people who report feeling very connected to people in their lives report higher levels of physical health. So there is some correlation between the connection you feel between other human beings in your life and your overall health. You're healthier with more of the connected people that you are with in your life. So that could get us all healthier if we're a
So
little bit more
connection is
connected.
is basically an emotional flu shot. Is
R-
that what you're telling me?
Love that. And
Okay,
yes,
got it.
yes,
Got
we'll
it.
go with that, run with that, use that as you will. But also just the idea that it doesn't matter if we have a lot of friends.
Mhm.
Right. Because
Nope.
I'll talk to a lot of people in sessions. I'll be like, I don't have many friends. Like, I only have one or two really close friends. The quantity of how many friends you have in your group, right? The number of people, that doesn't matter.
Mm.
It's the quality when you are with those particular friends. You might have one that you only see maybe twice a year, but when you connect, is that connection great? Is that connection fulfilling? Is that connection something that fills your cup or helps you process things in your life? And those are the ones that are meaningful. So you could have a million friends. There's extroverts that have, so many friends.
Yeah, but are you
They
wearing the
can still
mask with
feel
all of
lonely.
them?
Yes, they can, and
Yes.
that's the point. I have one friend that I see twice a year, and every time I see her, it is like the heavens have opened up. Like, it is the best feeling in the whole world. We talk about everything and anything and nothing all at the same time, right? And that does more for me than if I were to go out every single Saturday with a bunch of people. So it doesn't matter necessarily that you have a lot of friends. That's something that people really judge themselves about. It's what do you get from the connections and relationships that you do have? So quality over quantity.
Yes, and I think, there's a friendship myth, and so we think connection means finding people exactly like us. Like, do you have the
Mhm.
same Enneagram as me?
Mhm.
We have the same
That's so
attachment
funny.
styles? Are you gluten intolerant too? That's what we did when we were 5. You like Barbie, I like Barbie. We
Right.
friends,
Right.
right? We have evolved hopefully
Yes, we don't
beyond
need
that.
it.
Things that make relationships convenient are not always the things that make relationships meaningful. Just
Mhm.
because it's convenient doesn't mean it's meaningful. It's convenient to be if you work with other people, your coworkers,
Right.
right? I have had that. One of my best friends was a former coworker
Mhm.
because we had a connection that had nothing to do with proximity. So
Mhm.
our
Right.
relationship sustained when the proximity ended.
Right.
Do I feel, to what Nina said, understood, seen, heard
Mhm.
by you? Can I be a struggle
Mhm.
bird with
With
you?
you. Yep.
Uh, so I think that's important. We don't have to have lived the same story. We just need someone who is curious and
Mhm.
wants to understand ours. That is a really good thing to look for in other people is like,
Right.
are they curious about me? Are they asking a second
Yeah.
follow-up question? Not just, where do you go to school? Oh, like, do you like it there? What are you studying there? Like, am I asking follow-up questions? Are you curious
Right.
about me? Are you curious about my experience?
And one of the best things in life is to have friends that are not like you.
Yes,
Right? Like,
100%.
I need Kate to go shopping with me because I am not a shopper and it will be a disaster if she is not with me. When she goes, it is a better experience. Like, you have to have people who can broaden your horizons, challenge your viewpoints. Like, I think that's getting a little bit lost today too, because we talked about this with dating and we're so focused on
Mhm.
finding people who are like us. But that's not necessarily always great. Like, having friendships and decreasing your loneliness factor is having people who engage but also enlighten you. Like, they
Yeah.
add to your life. That
Yes.
helps with that
It's a
loneliness
value
feeling.
add.
Mm,
Connection is not built through matching resumes. It's emotional presence. So someone that like gets our humor, remember what matters to us, someone that's like, "Oh, I remember you love Diet Dr Pepper. I got some
mhm.
for you."
Right.
Someone that notices when we're not okay. We just
Mm,
had that where Nina was like, "That is absolutely not like this person. I'm
yeah.
going to follow up with them. That is not like this person." So knowing when you know them well enough, you know their patterns. So what helps? I'm going to say this and it's going to break some hearts. It's
Mm.
not another dog or dating app.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I think this other thing, and people say this, like, I'll reach out when I feel better. I hear that one a lot for
Yes.
people that are
Yeah.
like, in a depressive episode. And it's like saying, I'll go to the gym when I'm stronger.
Mhm.
The gym is where stronger happens,
Mhm.
right? So reaching out is where
Yeah.
connection
Mhm.
happens.
Also, I think with the loneliness factor, some of the pushback I'll get in sessions are people who use the term, well, I don't think I need any more friends. I have enough friends. And people will do that a lot. Oh, I have plenty of friends. I don't need any friends. I've never really understood that idea because, again, I'm a big advocate that people in your life can actually enlighten and challenge in a good way and give you some new information that you didn't have before. But regardless, if you're feeling lonely, but you feel like you have enough people in your life, then we're going to go right back to the quality versus quantity thing.
The connection.
You have a packed social calendar. That does not mean you are getting connected,
Yes.
right? And so you are still feeling lonely because your brain is saying to you, we're not getting fed. We don't have the connections we need. Yes, we go out every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, but it's not giving us what we need. We still have that need and the loneliness is present.
And listen, some people suck at caring. They just suck at caring. They do. Let them. Not to Mel Robbins you. I hope that's not like some trademark thing. But some people
suck at
suck. No,
caring.
they suck at empathy.
Yes.
And they come to you with solutions or a casserole or emojis, or weird vibes. Like they just come to you with like weird energy. And you're like,
Casserole.
I'm crying here. And they're like, how about some football?
Yeah.
No, Pamela, I don't want to play pickleball. I'm grieving.
Pickleball is not the answer to everything.
I
don't want to play pickleball.
People bring what they have in their emotional toolbox.
Yes.
So I would do this with clients. I call it support superlatives, So kind of listing out most likely to let me sleep on their couch. I have friends that are really good at logistics, fixing. They will solve. They will organize your life. I have different friends that will sit with you in the dark, in the dirt, in the mud,
Right.
in the nest.
Yep. And that's okay.
And that's okay. So
Yeah.
it's finding, some people suck at certain things. You know what? But when I want a casserole, Brenda, right there.
Right there.
Right there with the casserole. Can we bring those back? Like my one friend, actually, Elena, she does when I'm like having a bad time, she makes this like gluten-free homemade mac and cheese and these like pumpkin muffins, and they're so delicious. And she will make them and bring them to my house.
Love that.
Other things that help. Less is more. Nina already talked about that. Be 10% more honest. If you're in a group of friends and they're like, hey, I know, let's go get some like Chinese food for dinner. And you're like, ooh. And normally you're like, You put on the mask of I'm agreeable.
Right.
So you say like, you know what? Chinese is the one thing I don't want to have. I just had it yesterday. So 10% more honest.
To that point. So there was a research study that showed that authentic sharing actually reduced people's reports of loneliness. So, and that authentic is the key word that Kate was just trying to show there, is that some of the research in this particular study that I read about said that the more that people tried to combat loneliness with actually sharing something that was authentic or truthful about themselves, ended to be more of a connection with people and then dropped their scores on the loneliness scale. So
yes. And that goes right into have one real conversation. So if someone's like, how are you? You're like, I'm fine. Like, I'm good. So one real conversation could be, let me share. Okay, if I check in, what is true for me right now? I'm starving. I'm tired. So I read this in a book. Jenny Lawson, who is like a blogger, she's written a couple of books. She writes a lot of stuff about mental health. And in her latest book, she talks about this, like how, someone asks how we're doing and we just say fine. So I think it is Swedish, and I'm not even going to say the Swedish name because I can't pronounce it. But
would have loved to have seen
it is a common thing when someone kind of asks how you're doing that you respond. And the translation of the response is, I'm up and not crying. And I love that. I think that is great. So if you want to have one real conversation, someone's like, how are you? You're like, well, I'm up and I'm not crying. Like that's true for me right now. That's would be authentic. A real conversation. Yep. Be more interested than interesting. Be more interested than interesting. So be curious, ask questions.
We use the word engaged a lot, I think, in therapeutic terms, but that's what that means. It just means be invested in what the person is talking about. You want to combat loneliness? You have to be somebody who also doesn't make someone else feel lonely.
Correct.
Right? So in order to do that, you have to engage, you have to invest, you have to really be attentive to what they're saying.
And another one that can help with loneliness is create repeated contact. So consistency. So maybe you have a meeting you go to every week or a meetup every week that if you didn't show up, somebody would say, what's up with that? So it's kind of a built-in way to kind of combat that.
Yeah.
if you're consistently showing up and you don't. So like therapy can be like that too. I don't know if you, but
Yeah.
like I have clients that if they just didn't show up, I would be like, I am very concerned.
Oh
I
my
am reaching out
gosh.
to them.
Yes, I do that
So
immediately.
consistency
Mhm.
can kind of be a built-in tether to like when I might want to withdraw or when I might want to like shut down or I'm feeling really lonely.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have any closing thoughts.
So, two things to just piggyback off of what you said in terms of because I found this term that I didn't even know existed. It's new and I had to look it up. I might say it wrong. I would say it as fubbing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
fubbing.
So fubbing is being socially present but on your phone the entire time, which is what you're talking about with the couples who are
Yeah,
so now there's a
fubbing.
term for that, which is where
Okay.
people feel like I went out to dinner with my friends last night, but like we were all just on our phones. So I feel even more lonely after that night out because none of us really talked. We were all just kind of on our phones. The most we did was we showed each other stuff that we were looking at, or we sent TikToks back and forth, which is how a lot of people communicate nowadays. It's understandable, but that is increasing our loneliness. That is
Mm,
making us feel much worse. And being in the room, just being in a room with somebody does not necessarily mean that you are present. So just showing up isn't enough. Like if you want to combat
stop
loneliness,
fubbing.
we we've got to put down the phones. We have to engage like we talked about. We have to be invested in the conversation, but that's how you're really going to combat the loneliness.
Yeah, and actually I've heard some kind of workarounds for the fubbing situation
Mhm.
is like I've heard that friend groups will go out, everybody puts their phone on the table. The first person that grabs through theirs has to pick up the whole bill.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I know, it's pretty good.
Except for people with young kids, maybe they have to like check in. There's babysitters and stuff, so
Nope,
that
nope.
maybe they could get a
We're
free
black and whitey.
pass.
Nope.
Poor person with a babysitter is just paying for the whole damn thing.
Sorry, Linda. She's like, everyone order French fries, okay?
No one get a drink
You
for
know what?
$15.
Water, water. So the cure is not get more friends, become more extroverted,
Right.
or go on more dates or have more plans.
Mhm.
Find places that you can show up as your regular human self. Show up as a struggle bird. That's my mascot, my personal mascot. She's really cute. She's like got a
Was
little
quite
bow.
adorable.
She has a little sign says doing my best.
Mhm.
Her feathers are falling off, but she's in there. Like
Mhm. She
find
showed up.
places that you can show up as your human self.
And when you're there, engage and say one of the tips, try to say one true thing, just one true thing. Remember that if you want to combat the loneliness, you're trying to engage more with people.
Yep.
I'm feeling very lonely. I need to try to work on this is show up, even if you're struggling, say you're struggling and talk about one authentic thing and see if you connect with people.
Up and not crying.
That's right.
Yes.
Make sure that you check us out after this episode and for many others at nearlynormalpodcast.com. We're on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. So make sure you interact with us in any way, shape, or form.
And until next time, stay nearly normal.